Hello lovely viewers, welcome to Eben Tech Studio. Thank you very much for watching my videos online. In today's video tutorial, I'm going to show you how you'll be able to connect your Easyworship to OBS and then send your scripture and then lyrics to OBS. Today's tutorial will include creating themes like this in OBS. So I will use that opportunity to tell you or show you how this was created. You have your camera at one side and then your scripture at the other side, and then how you'll be able to switch between different themes when the scripture should go fully on the screen or the video should also go fully on the screen. So without wasting much time, I would like you to click on the subscribe button. If you haven't subscribed, click on the bell notification to get notified of every content we put online, and also make sure to like the video as well. All right, so first of all, we need to open up our OBS. So this is our OBS software. If you haven't downloaded it, you need to do that and then get it installed. So you need the OBS and then you need the OBS NDI. So in the other video, in one of my videos, I've explained how to install OBS and then OBS NDI. And then you also need to download Easyworship from their website. So Easyworship is not free. You need to buy the license before you'll be able to use it without a watermark. But if you prefer the watermark, then that one, you can use it for free. That is their condition. So without wasting much time, let's move on to how we'll be able to do that. So the first step is to configure our Easyworship. So you open Easyworship 7 and then you click on the edit menu, choose the options, and then when you have chosen the options, we are going to use the main output. All right, so we set by default our main output will be set to either primary monitor, that is monitor 1, or monitor 2, depending whether you have connected an extra monitor to your system unit or your laptop's HDMI port or VGA port. Whichever being the case, we are going to choose NDI. So we are going to send our signal from Easyworship through the NDI into OBS NDI. So what you need to do is that your OBS must be installed together with NDI plugin so that it can recognize the signal coming from the Easyworship and then import it into OBS. So once we are done with this, we click on OK. So we leave the output format to this. If it is if yours is in this one, you can click on the drop down box and then select this particular format. And then when you are done, you click on OK. So when you are done with this one, the next thing you need to do is that you would have to come to your media. If you have imported other medias or images or whatever, you have to bring in images, because what we are going to do, we want to achieve something similar to this one. Okay, we want to achieve something similar to this one. And there are two steps there are two different kinds. There are two ways in achieving that. You can either do everything in Easyworship without using OBS. So what OBS is going to do is just to record your video or stream your video, and that's all. But you can also choose to do it in OBS too as well. So the first step is to do it in OBS, and the second one is going to be in Easyworship software. So now when you have imported your media like images into your media tab, what you have to do is that we are going to create themes. So we can create a song theme, we can create a scripture theme. So now let's create a scripture. We are starting with scripture. So if you have themes, forget about the themes there. We want to start our own theme. You can use existing themes, but let's create our themes from scratch. So we click on the add, and then when you have clicked on the add button, we need to name our theme. So main theme. This was previously called background, what we used to call background in Easyworship 2009. All right, so once we are done with this, we click on the inspector button, and then we move to background under the slide menu, and then we want to fill our background with media fill, and the media fill, we want to pick it from image. So I want to choose this dark blue image, which is already in my media tab or in my media profile that I imported, where I imported the images to. So once I'm done with that, what I will need to do is I want to add something like a border to it. This is a border. You can see a gradient border or a phantom fill border. So what I will do next is to select this text. It's a text box, okay, where the scripture is displayed is a text box. So we want to fill that element with we want to fill its border with a color. All right, so we choose enabled. Unfortunately, we don't have anything like there is nothing like gradient fill in how do we call it, the Easyworship. It's just a basic color or one color or standard color. There is nothing like gradient color that we can use to fill the border or the stroke. So now we select, let's give this the border a yellow color, and then we choose round so that it looks nice. Let's increase the size a bit, and then once we are done increasing the size, we can close this and then click on OK. So now anytime we search for a scripture, so now let's come back to the themes and then make it our default theme, our default scripture theme, so that it applies to all the scripture that we display. So now you can see that there is a border around it. So this is how it's going to show on the screen. If you have to project to the audience on the TV screens in the auditorium, this is how it's going to show. All right. So what we have to do next is that we will come to OBS, and then when we come to OBS, make sure you have connected your camera and everything. You have already set up your camera. You click on the Add Source button, and then we choose Video Capture Device. So I'm going to call this camera. So if I've done connecting my camera, then I want to choose my capture card. So this is my video capture card, okay? So this is what I've chosen right now. I've added my camera, and when I'm done, so with my camera specifically, I'm going to choose, let me change the resolution. I want to choose, I just want to change the resolution for this particular camera and then choose this one. And then I click on the OK button. Okay, so this is my camera, and then I bring it down a bit so you can position it to anywhere you want on your screen. So let me switch from this mode to this so that I can really see it clearly and then do it. So now that I've imported it, you can use the transformation tool to resize your camera on the image canvas. All right, so when you are done with this is our image. There is something we would also want to do, and that is to bring in our output from Easyworship. So this is our scripture from Easyworship. So we just want to add another one, and then we just want, this time around, we are going to choose NDI source. So when we click on NDI source, we are going to name it Easyworship output. And then we choose the source, that is the Easyworship output. And then when we are done, one thing I would always want to do is to uncheck this thing, enable audio. Uncheck it or disable it. We don't want any audio to transform from our desktop into the into OBS. The reason for that is we want to include our audio by ourselves. Perhaps you have an audio interface that you want to bring the audio into OBS. That is where you want to pick the sound from. We don't want any audio to get into OBS through the NDI, because mind you, NDI can pick audio signal from your your laptop or your system from Windows. So now we are done with that. We click on OK. So here is our scripture, and then we resize the scripture to this side. Let's resize the scripture to this side, and then we can now also bring our video here. All right, so this is the basic understanding, or this is basically what you need to do. That is all. Now, if you want it to look more vertical like this, it depends on how you have positioned your camera and then how you are shooting the video. One thing you can do is that you hold down the Alt key, and then resize it. So when I resize it this way, I can hold the Shift key and then stretch this one. And I'm still saying that it depends on how you have positioned your camera, so that you don't have to stretch the video to understand that it wouldn't look proportional. So you hold down the Shift key to resize a particular angle, not necessarily the entire. If you don't hold down the Shift key and then you are resizing, you can play around with it. And then you see how this one, when you don't hold down the Shift key, you are resizing proportionally. But if you hold down the Shift key, it means that you are resizing. When I stretch it down, it is resizing it downwards. Okay, so don't stretch it too much so that the video doesn't look centered and proportional on the screen. And then you can use the Alt key to crop. The Alt key will crop the video to a particular point. Okay, so you can see in my hand, it will crop it to a particular point. So you can play around with the Alt and the Shift just to know what it does. So this is it. More times, many of the times when they show this, this is how Koinonia, this is what they really do. Most of the time they don't display their verses or their Bible verses as a lower third over the video at the lower portion of the video. They normally do it this way. Okay, so you have a bit of the full screen of the scripture alongside a portion of the video. So you could see this one, it is a full video, but actually they've cropped a portion of it. That is why I'm saying you can crop, but crop proportionally to understand that the image of the person will be fit and then centered within the canvas of the video that you have cropped. Okay, so don't stretch it too much so that it looks unproportional. So what you have to do next is very simple. So now that you have done this, the next thing is we need to put something behind this background, okay, so that it looks nice a bit. It doesn't look this black or somehow. So let's bring in an image. We are just going to bring in an image. So we have this image on the desktop. This is the image, and then what we are going to do is that we have drag this image to the location over here. We add it to the sources. Okay, so you add it to the sources. So now that it has been added to the sources, we add the image to the sources in this particular sense. So now we have three sources. We have a JPEG, we have our Easyworship output, and then we have our camera. So now we want to move this. You can press the Ctrl S to make the image fit on the entire screen. Okay, so I'm going to undo that. You can also use the transformation tool to resize it, and then hold down the Shift key and then to resize it to this angle. So now that we are done with this, we can drag this one beneath the camera. Okay, we drag it beneath the camera so that it goes behind the video and then the Easyworship output. So this being my hand, so now we have our camera, we have our Easyworship scripture, And then I can see something like a logo. We have a logo here. Probably most times they do design the background that we added. This logo is already part of that background. But in case it is not, we can still add our logo to it. So we can drag our logo in here. So our logo can stay on top, okay? Because it needs to be above all the videos, all the sources. So we can position it somewhere here. So that's our logo, or we can even put it down here or whatever, wherever we prefer it to be. We can leave it this way. So now we have three things. We have our video, we have our scripture, or the song. The song too, we can create the same things for the song, okay? We can create the same thing for the song. All right, so this is how you'll be able to do it. And then what we can do is that, so let's rename this, and then we are going to call this video and easy worship side by side. So I call it this way. All right, because I'm going to create another one where we will have an entire video, and then another one where we are going to have an entire scripture. Okay, so now let's create the song theme. So when we come to the song, when we come to themes, we have song, and then we have our theme here. It could be empty. Your themes could be empty, or it may also not be empty. But if it is still not empty, you can edit one of them, or you can create a new one. So the first one, we created a new one, but this time around we are going to edit. So we choose edit song theme, and then once we click on edit song theme, we are going to do the same inspector. We click on the inspector button, and then the main background, we are going to change the fill style to media. And then once we change the fill style to media, we are going to choose, we can choose a video, right? We can choose a video, or we want to choose image. So I prefer the image over the video. So we choose dark blue image, and then the images are showing because you have added it to your image and then your media. All right, you have added it to your media. That's why you are able to see it here. But if you don't have any image, you are going to be, you aren't able, you are not going to be, you won't be able to see it. All right, sorry for that. So now we come to our element, which is this. So make sure you select the element, which is the text. All right, so come to the border, and then we can also add shadow to it. Okay, then we see how it looks like. So now when we come to the border, we change it from none to enable, and then now we choose yellow, and then let's increase it a bit. Once we are done, this time around we are going to add a shadow to it. So we like the drop down shadow like this, and then we're going to increase the blurriness a bit, and then the offset. So you could see that it's applying, but so this is okay. This level is okay. You can keep the numbers and use it to set your own thing, or you can try and play along with it. And then when you are done, you click on OK. So now we make it our main song theme, and then let's say we want to search for a song. So now these are some songs that we are displaying. We have our local songs in here. So now anytime we go on live, we have our song here, and then we have our video here. So if it is time for singing, you can display it this way, and then you can create many themes in OBS, just like we did. We position the camera somewhere, and then we also position the scripture somewhere. Now the second part of it is that we want to create another theme where the video will show large on the entire screen. So now this time we call it video only. So with the video only, we can go back and add our camera source, or we can copy the camera up from here. We can copy it, and then when we come here, we paste. I believe you understand. We can paste it here and then actually resize it better. Okay, hold down the shift key, do the resizing again. Whatever you did, hold down the alt or the shift key, resize everything, and then press Ctrl S to let it fill to the entire distance. So when the preacher man is preaching or it's time for the video is actually showing, but when it's time for scripture, you switch to this mode and then you project your scripture from here. So you could see Koinonia, or usually this is what they do. So they switch. Most times they use Vmix, but I'm not teaching this thing in Vmix. The concept is still the same. Whether you are using Vmix or OBS, you can use the same technology or the same idea. So when it is video only, once the scripture is done, you switch back to your video and then you show your video. You can move back to this where you have your camera at a side and then your video at another side. Okay, so that is it for this particular one. And then the next one is also to make sure you create something like scene 3. We want to call this one, we rename this third scene that we are creating. We want to call it Easy Worship Only. So what we do is that when we come here, we can come and copy, or we can still go back to the process of adding the NDI. But let's just copy it. So copy, and then when we come here, we come and paste it. Now once we have pasted it here, we can press the Ctrl S to fill it, to fill the whole screen. Okay, so this is what we can do to the Easy Worship scene over here, so that at a point in time you can switch between video, you can switch between the video only and then switch between the scripture only, or do the side by side this thing, bringing the video at one side and then the scripture at another side, or the Easy Worship output at another side. So now let me move back to the studio mode. So this is how is it. You can have a preview. So when the preacher man is done with the scriptures, reading the scripture, and then you select your video only, and then you move to this. And then you can also preview if you want it to show entirely. You can do it this way. So they don't really if you have watched most of their videos, they don't really put the scripture, with the exception of the songs that they display at the lower third. It shows only at the lower third of the screen. But when it comes to scripture, they make sure it shows, and at least it shows big enough on the screen. All right, so this is how you do it. And most churches also prefer it this way rather than the lower third. So you can see, you can move to scripture and then you switch between, you translate. So we have done this thing in OBS. We use OBS to do this. And then what we have to do is to add our audio input. So we can click on we select the scene, and then when we come to the sources, we add audio input. So you click on the plus button and then you choose audio input capture. And then we call this one microphone. So this could be coming from your mixer board or whatever, your audio interface. When you have done that, you just choose your microphone. So this is the name of my microphone coming from my mixing console. So I click on OK. And then when I've added it, one thing is that always make sure you restart OBS. Okay, always make sure you restart OBS. The reason why I've lowered down the volume of even though it's not working, because you remember we disabled the NDI Easy Worship output audio. It's not working. So now make sure you restart OBS again. With OBS, one of the problems is that anytime you add audio, the signal doesn't show unless you have restarted it multiple times or whatever. But it is working right here. So that is what you have to do after adding the microphone. So after you've added the microphone levels is supposed to show here. All right, so now that your microphone is added, what you need to do is okay, so we are done with this. Actually, we are done with this one. So the other one I wanted to show you was when we want to do everything in Easyworship rather than doing it in OBS. So I'm going to clear all of these templates and then we start from afresh. Okay, so we are done. We have created a video and Easyworship side by side. We have created video only. We have created Easyworship only. We have this, we have that. So when you want to send a video or a lyrics, you can choose any of them and then you can display it. So the second way to do this exact thing is by creating the templates or the themes only in Easyworship. Okay, so let's do that. So first of all, I'm going to clear or delete all of these templates in here, and you cannot delete the last scene. So before you can do that, create another scene and call it output from Easyworship. So let me remove this one. So with this particular thing, we just want to do, we are going to add only output from Easyworship. We are going to do Easyworship. Everything is going to be done in Easyworship, and then we just add audio source and then the outputs from Easyworship into OBS. So they are going to be only two things, nothing else, nothing more. So you just do, you can minimize your OBS and then do everything in your Easyworship. So now let's begin with that. When we come to song tab, what we have to do is that we can create a new theme, okay, for the song. Okay, we can create a new theme for the song, but let's start with the scripture because that is the focus. So when we come here, let's create a new theme for the scripture. So we can call this theme video by scripture. So these are side by side something. All right, so now we will hold down the text. We are going to click on the text element and then resize it just like we're doing OBS. So we want to resize this thing and then give it a fill. So that particular element is what we want to give it a fill. So media fill, and what do we want to fill it with? We want an image, and this is the image we want to fill it with. Okay, do we want to give it a border? We can give it a border, and then let's change the border color to something like yellow. Reduce the size a bit. And then the next thing is to add our camera. But before that, we need to go and add the camera in the media. And then you see this place is too blank. So we're going to select under the slide background. So the slide background refers to this. And this is just an element. So we just change this one to media fill. What do we want to fill it with? Perhaps we want to fill it with a video like this. Okay. We want to fill it with a video. Or we can even fill it with an image, and then when we are done, we will we've already named it. We want to add the camera here, but I've told you that anything media, if you haven't added it in the media, when it comes here, you are not going to see it. Okay, so we need to go and add it first. So let's click on OK. Let's go back to media, and if you want to add a video from your camera, it is under feed that you will be able to do that. So let's come to feed, and then you click on the plus sign. So you are now adding. So you are going to call it your camera, and then you choose the camera that you want to add. So this is my camera. Okay, this is my camera. So I want to change this one to this size. This is my camera size. When I'm done, then I click on OK. So now the camera is added to the feed, and then when I go to Teams and then I edit, I come to the scripture theme. This, when I edit it, I should be able to insert the video over here. So I want to insert a media, right? I want to insert a media. What media do I want to insert? I want to insert a feed, and that is a camera. So in OBS, you will call it source. Unlike the OBS, where you can resize a particular portion of the image or the video, Easyworship is not that easy to do it like that. So we will just maintain this kind of size in the theme we want to create. So when we are done with this, let's come to the particular element, and then we want to give it a border also. So we want to give that particular border a yellow border. But for the purpose of the tutorial, let's differentiate between them. So we have also given it a border. When we are done, you can add shadow to any of the elements in there, but we will leave it for now, and then we close it. We click on OK, and then what we are going to do is that we have created this theme. Now let's go to scripture, and then let's search for the scripture. Now when we project this particular scripture, it is going to show this way. The reason why it's going to show this way is because that is our main theme. Now when you want to later apply this new theme to the scripture, maybe I've shown the full scripture, you want it this way, you can just drag it to this particular one, and then you double click on it to go live. So we have our Easyworship here, and then we have our scripture here. Because of the size of the camera, I don't think it will be right to add a border to this video, because it leaves it hanging. There are a lot of space between the video border and then the actual border, the green borders, which doesn't make it more presentable. All right, so this is how you should be able to do it. Okay, and then the same way we created this, that is the same way we are going to create the song theme. That is exactly the same. So this is how you can do it. And then when you come to your OBS, you just have to come and add the NDI. So you can call it Easyworship NDI. And then when you have added, you have the same signal traveling from your Easyworship to this side. So you can translate and then it goes live. Now, when you want to go back to the video only, you can switch to media and then play the video, and then the video is going to show, only the video is going to show. When it is a scripture, you should just make this one your main theme. You can make it set as the default scripture theme. And then when you come to the scripture, you can directly project, and then when it's time for scripture, it will go this way. And then when you are done, you can go back to your video. So what actually Easyworship is doing, what actually is going on is that OBS is not doing anything. It is only Easyworship that you are working with. It's just transferring the signal or the output to OBS. And then if you are streaming, you are streaming. If you are recording, you are recording. You can even minimize this and then do not pay attention to it. Only what you need to do is concentrate on the Easyworship, and that's fine. All right, so the same thing applies to the song theme. When it comes to themes, you select. Now this time around, let's edit this theme, or we can still create a new one. I'm going to do it quick. So we select that is the background for the whole slide, and this particular element, we are going to give it a feel of the image. So we can resize it this way. This time I will put the lyrics here. I'm just showing you how you can position some of the things. And then we can bring in our media video feed. So we can make it this way. All right, so this is how you can make some of the things look like. So let's see, main theme for song or lyrics. When you have named it, you click on OK, and then you set it as your default if this is what you want. So anytime you project a song, this is how it's going to show. Your video is going to show at one side, and then the scripture too is going to show at another side. All right, so that is basically what you need to do, and that's all. So that's all. That's actually what you need to do. Your feed should always be here. You can either add it to the shadow so that anytime you want to show the camera, you double click on it to go back. When it is time for scripture, you do same. And then I said, like, if you want to go to the full screen of the scripture, then you can choose that particular template and quickly set it as default. And then you go back to the scripture again to project. When you are done, you can make this one the default again, and then it switches back to it. So anyhow you want to do it. So your OBS will just be recording or then be streaming. All right, so thank you very much for watching this video, and then stay blessed. The contact is in the flyer over here. Welcome to Eben Tech Studio once again. Thank you very much for watching this video. Bye.